Hey y'all, we are cooking away the blues. Now the premise of that is that cooking is an antidepressant. Doing anything creative is an antidepressant, and when you're doing something for someone else, it brings even more meaning into your life. I'm not saying it's a cure for depression, but it helps. Today we're making tres leches. Now that's a cake that I didn't even know about before I moved to Texas a dozen years ago, and now it's become a staple in our family. We make it for any birthday or family gathering. So check out this recipe, which is actually cuatro leches because we use 4 different kinds of milk. That's just the way we are. We're gonna start by greasing and flouring a 9 by 13 inch pan. Let's take a look at our ingredients. We're going to start with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I like white lily flour the best. I have a tablespoon plus a teaspoon of baking powder, a pinch of salt, and a pinch of nutmeg. Then I have 2 sticks of softened butter, a teaspoon of vanilla, a cup and a half of white sugar, and half a cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of whole milk, and 4 eggs. Now that's all we need to make the cake. For the milk sauce, I have a cup and a half of whole milk, 1 can of coconut milk, and 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. Now most people use evaporated milk, but I think evaporated milk is gross, and I like the coconut flavor, so I use that. And then for the third and final step of the recipe, we're going to make some whipped cream with fresh berries to go on top. Now that we've got all our ingredients together, let's get our equipment together. I have a hand mixer and a big bowl, and I have a large yellow dog. So I've got my 3 cups of flour. I'm going to add the baking powder, the pinch of salt, the pinch of nutmeg, and I'm just going to whisk that together real quickly. Now we're going to set that bowl of flour aside. I have my 2 sticks of softened butter. I'm going to add the cup and a half of white sugar, the half cup of brown sugar, and the teaspoon of vanilla, and I'm going to whip that with my electric mixer until it is smooth and fluffy. Now that the butter and the sugar are whipped, I'm going to start by adding 1 egg at a time. We're going to whip that, and then we're going to scrape the bowl each time using a rubber spatula. Now we're going to start by alternating the flour mixture and the milk mixture. So we're going to add about 1/3 of the flour and whip that in, and then about half the milk, and then 1/3 of the flour, half the milk, and 1/3 of the flour. You always end with the dry ingredient. I don't know why that is. It has something to do with chemistry or physics or astrology or something, I don't know. And you always scrape the bowl after each cycle. So now that the cake batter's done, I'm going to take a little break have a little snack. Got the oven at 350. We're going to pour the batter into the cake pan and we're going to bake it. Now we're going to pour that batter into the pan just like I said we were. Then we're just going to level it out. So that's 350 degrees at 40 minutes. While the cake is baking, we're going to start making the milk sauce. So we're going to pour in 1.5 cups of whole milk, 1 can of coconut milk. You can use evaporated milk if you'd like, and 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. And we're going to turn that on low heat, and we're just going to simmer it and stir it occasionally. We just want to steep the milk. We don't want it to get thick. We don't want it to come to a boil. We just want it to warm up and to steep for a while. We're just going to give that a stir occasionally, keeping the heat on low. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes. Let's see how that cake looks. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to let that cake rest for about 10 or 15 minutes before we start poking holes in it. Now that the cake has cooled, we're going to start poking holes in it. Just like that, with a wooden skewer or a toothpick or something pointy and thin. So you just keep on poking. Keep on poking. Poking some holes. Poking some holes. See how I'm doing that? Just every inch or so, just poking a hole through the entire cake. Now that we've made the cake holy, we're going to start ladling the milk sauce all over it until it has absorbed every bit of it. Now we're going to refrigerate it for 2 hours. One of the things that I love about the tres leche cake is it doesn't have to look perfect. Sometimes the things that I bake are not the prettiest, but they are tasty. So we're going to dig a piece of the cake out just like that. Put it on the plate like that. Top it with some cream. Throw a handful of berries on there. And there you have it. Tres leches. Thanks for watching the tres leche recipe here at Cooking Away the Blues. Now Elvis is ready to try the cake. Please like, share, and follow. Follow me on Facebook at Cooking Away the Blues for my Zoom classes. I got upcoming original music, a new book, who knows what all's coming out. But let's see how this cake turns out. Tastes okay to me. Let's see what you think, Elvis. Want a bite? Come here. Come here. Yeah. We're gonna do blah, blah.